everyone. It's great being here, and appreciate the invite from Natalie. And I know we're all in here as business owners, and actually from the look of you all, primarily women, except for a couple of guys here. But I just was actually reading a study of women in business, and it says that women-owned firms contribute nearly $3 trillion to the U.S. economy. And if you think about it, actually, it says also that they maintain 23 million jobs. So, if you look historically, that's a big change from what women used to be. So it's quite a big deal to have all these women business owners or soon-to-be business owners in here today. So just a little bit about myself. I actually started out, I thought I was going to be a designer. I did graphic and fashion design and soon realized that I wanted to go into more of the business world, so I ended up starting a financial services company. And that's what I do right now. I absolutely love it. I started on the West Coast. I have a couple offices in California and always wanted to come back to New York, where I'm originally from, to open an office here. So I got to do that a couple years ago. But I definitely, like yourself, understand being in business. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit today about the financial side of the business. You heard a lot about the legal side right now. And definitely that's very important for protecting yourself. But when it comes to money, that's a big challenge when starting your own business or even maintaining your own business. And one of the things that I've noticed with myself and also with clients and people that I sit down with is that a lot of times when you're first starting a business or maybe your business is growing, your personal finance and your business finance tend to kind of mesh together, and there's really no divisible line. So one of the things that's very important is even before you start a business or if you've already started one, definitely making sure that the first thing is that your personal financial future or where you're at this moment is set. And the reason for that is because that's kind of like your foundation. You're building this business and it's going to take time. Being a business owner is a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of putting your entire energy into it. You want to make sure that it doesn't come crashing down. One of the things you can do is the legal protection, but then you also have the financial protection. So there's certain key steps, and I want to just outline 5 steps also in your packet. I gave you guys a little brochure that you'll get with these 5 steps, but there's 5 different areas that you want to make sure that you've got this foundation with. The first one is cash flow, maintaining a proper budget. I can't tell you how many people I sit down with that really have no idea what's coming in and what's going out. If you want to find money, that's where you start. So just really knowing what that is. And again, first starting on a personal level and then moving it into the business side as well. The second thing is proper protection, and that's in reference to insurance. We've lived in a society that for the past 30 years has always relied on the big companies, the pension plans, the Social Security, and the insurance. And that pretty much doesn't exist anymore, but definitely not for someone starting their own business. You have to take on that responsibility. So proper protection includes things such as health insurance, life insurance, disability. Probably for anyone above the age of 45, 50 will get into long-term care as well. So these are things that learning about them, having that protection so that as you grow your business, if God forbid something happens, you have that protection in place. The third thing is debt management. Everything these days is buy. We like something that we see, we want to purchase it. And unfortunately, a lot of people are in debt. So you want to be in a position where, number one, you don't get into debt, but if you are, being on a course to manage that debt and ultimately eliminate it. There are definitely different ways of doing it. I'm sure you've all heard about stimulus packages and things like that. There's ways of negotiating with creditors in terms of getting out of debt. But more importantly than either not getting into debt or getting out of debt is really staying out of debt. And the way you do that is with the 4th step, which is putting together and establishing an emergency fund. An emergency fund is about 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses, somewhere that is liquid, accessible to you, there's no fees to take it out, it's probably not in something very risky, and that's where you would go in case of emergency. Emergency is a rainy day. It's a day that you may not, your client may not buy something from you, or maybe something happens to you, you get ill and you can't work. That's an emergency, and typically what most people do for their emergency is they do what? They use credit cards. That's most people's emergency fund. So again, not getting into debt, establishing that emergency fund is how you protect yourself from that. And the last part is what I call asset accumulation and preservation. This is in terms of building wealth. One of the things that we have against us when we're trying to build wealth is time. Okay? Time is something you cannot get back. A lot of times people think it's amount of money, but it really is time. Because as time goes by, you have less and less time for assets and wealth to build. And I won't get too much into that, but there's different things that you can learn to be able to understand how money builds and how that can work for you or against you. So in terms of asset accumulation, we're talking about things like retirement planning. If you have children, that would include children's education planning. But even things just like, basics, like savings. If you're going into business, you might want to have things that you're accumulating there. And then the last part is preservation. Preservation basically is passing it on to your next generation without Uncle Sam taking a big part of that. Because all of this is going to involve taxes as well, and there's ways of protecting yourself there. So in these 5 steps, the number one thing to do is make sure that you have all those things set up on a personal level, and then taking the next step and making sure that you have it business-wise as well. Being able to, if any of you have employees, being able to set these things up for your employees as well is something that can be obviously a benefit for the employee that you're giving it to, but also a benefit to the company as well. So I know by the raise of hand before, not many of you are in business yet, so that's probably not that important for you right now, but the main thing before getting into business is doing it on a personal level. The second thing that I want to talk to you about is, a lot of times, especially when you're first starting out, you tend to want to do everything yourself. Let me do my own website. Let me do my own, everything in the business. Because you're a small business owner and you're just starting out, that's kind of a feeling that a lot of small business owners get. I know I've been there. But when it comes to money, don't be in the money business unless you're in the money business. Because that's something that, people who do manage money, that's what they sit and do all day. Personally, I don't manage money. I actually just show people how to put a financial plan together and help them implement it. But I have people that work for me that all they do is sit there and watch people's money. So it is really a full-time job. So if you're going to be getting yourself on track to financial independence and also building a business and wealth, you want to make sure that you have someone in place that's doing that for you. And one of the misconceptions that I see out there in sitting down with people is that people tend to think it takes a lot of money to be able to do that. And the reality is it doesn't. A lot of firms who do wealth management don't want to accept people who are just starting out or maybe only have $100 to save a month or something like that. But there are companies that do that. And in fact, that's the mission of my company, is to really educate people about how money works and help them establish a plan for their financial future, no matter what their income level. And that's how Natalie and I got talking, and that's why I wanted to come share that with you today. So hope you learned something. If any of you do want more information, I'll be around after, and thank you.
Thank you.